Okay, I got it. I'm gonna put this on the charger. 'Cause that's where that needs to go. Yeah, yeah, y'all. Yeah, yeah, y'all. Uh, what up? What up? What up? What up? Yo, if y'all don't have your apple cider vinegar drink, go get it. Get your apple cider vinegar now. If y'all don't have it, get it. Yabba dabba doo. Or yabba dabba doo. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Hey. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Uh-huh, uh-huh. What up, y'all? Yeah, come on in, y'all. It's the weekend recap. We back like we never left. We back, we back, we back, we back. Yep. We up in here like we never left, y'all. What up, coach? Man. It's the weekend recap, man. It's a Monday. Hopefully I'm getting y'all Monday started off in a dope way. That's all I want to do. I just want to get y'all popping, you know what I'm saying? For y'all to have an amazing start to this Thanksgiving week, man. Woo, y'all got some work ahead of y'all. Some work ahead of y'all this week. I'm just saying, listen, this week is probably one of the most challenging weeks for dieters. Let me do this right quick, y'all. I'm just saying it's a challenging week. What up, everybody? It is Monday, November 21st. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, man, and the temperature is 34 degrees with a high of 53 degrees today. Y'all see I had to put my watch on in order to get all that information for y'all. Because, we stayed up late last night, or I'm not too late last night, but last night we was on it, y'all. Y'all know we hit that apple cider vinegar drink. If y'all were there, then you were in the place to be when I was making it so that we would have what we needed for the day. What up, Sassy? I see you over on YouTube. For those of you who want to join on YouTube, go to youtube.com. You can type in my name, Dwight_Scrap_Reynolds, and you can join there. But here, I implore you to hit the like button like you lost your mind, like you're playing a video game. And I implore you to share the live. What up, Red Baby? What up, Sonny? Yeah, I'm traveling this week. But I'm here with y'all now. That's all that matters. Yeah. I'm here with you now. This weekend was crazy, man. If we start like close to where we was just at, I don't know if any of you all did, but I did not watch. I did not watch the AMAs the other day. I did not watch the American Music Awards because of how they did Chris Brown. I'm sorry. I allowed y'all to watch it. You know what I'm saying? If you watched it, you could have told me about it. But I was not watching it because, it was another example to me. It was another example of how these entities control the narrative, man. And I really didn't like the fact that they played Chris Brown like that, man. And then they're going to tell y'all, the public, that he wasn't going to be performing. They told everybody really, really late because they knew that this is how slick people work, man. And it bothers me, the way that they decide to move and how it affects the entertainers or, just people. Yeah. So they didn't, at the last minute, they decided to pull the Chris Brown show. Now, if any of you guys, Sassy said, I prepared a week's supply of the apple cider vinegar drink. That's what's up, as you should. Share the live, you guys. Make sure everybody on my live is sharing the live. Y'all got to participate in the situation. Share. If you want to, what up, Delight? If you're on my Instagram, mind you, I'm broadcasting across Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. Make sure you guys, wherever you're at, you're sharing the conversation. It's important that you do that. It's one of the ways that we keep this thing popping and keeping it alive. And it's another way of educating the multitude, because if more people are here to check it out, more of them can get a chance to hear it. Nikki, the Warrior Princess, wants me to join, but I'm not doing that. We don't join those discourses on a week. We don't do that, the gaming thing. So check it out. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it is the 40th anniversary of Thriller. I don't know if you guys knew that. It's the 40th anniversary of one of the most iconic videos from one of the most iconic artists we've ever had, Michael Jackson, the king of pop. He released Thriller 40 years ago. It's one of the dopest videos that still gets played today. They always play it around, of course, around Halloween and whatnot. But it's one of the biggest songs of all time. It's one of the biggest videos ever done. It was the first video done not first. It was one of the biggest videos that was done like that. Like, it was done like a movie. Like, it was crazy. It was about 15 minutes long, if I'm not mistaken. The full version is 15 minutes long, and no one had done that before. And rightfully so, that the king of pop, the biggest iconic person in the music business, come out and do it. One of the things that was discouraging about this incident is that this whole thing was twofold, right? The challenge I have with this whole thing is this. Whether y'all know it or not, Michael Jackson had huge enemies. What up, Lonnie? Michael Jackson, what up, CJ? Michael Jackson had huge enemies. And the reason being it's ironic, right? That Michael Jackson was speaking out about the same people that Kanye West is speaking about, the same people that Kyrie Irving was documenting in his conversation. Michael Jackson was also in the mix with these people trying to, he had figured it out. And the crazy part is, when you have that amount of money and success, that they don't want you to have that conversation. This is the reason why iconic people in our culture have these crazy demises. You know what I'm saying? Once they gain traction and gain ground and they've accomplished a lot of things, they understand that they have a moral commitment to share that information with their community. Y'all have to understand, if y'all don't go back and listen to those Michael Jackson, if y'all don't go back and listen to the Michael Jackson music, he tells you in certain records, but more intently, he wrote a record called "They Don't Really Care About Us." Now listen, he wrote a song called "They Don't Really Care About Us." You understand? In it, he says those there's some words he says in there that got him in trouble with the they. And from there, the they began to smear, they ran a smear campaign. Like, listen, what is happening is not a anomaly. It's not anything new. It's just they're preying on your short-term memory. They're praying that you don't remember those things. What up, Anointed? You know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all think about it, yes, listen, they're running the same play over and over again because we have not stood 10 toes down and said, no, man, that's not what's happening. That's not what we doing. He was speaking the truth. He was saying, listen, at a certain level of success, what you got to realize is, at a certain level of success, you can see everything and you're privy to all the conversations. This is the same thing that when I'm talking to y'all about the apple cider vinegar getting rid of stored fat. Well, what that does is it clears things out the way. As you're reaching your goals, you get a chance to see things differently. You know what I'm saying? You're absolutely right, CJ. They're trying to silence the truth. But what they're realizing is there are more truth tellers coming to the forefront, and they are people of high regard and success. When you have people who have the wherewithal to withstand these kind of things, then things have to change. Why? Because you have people who can stand the storm. Kyrie Irving withstanding the storm very well, if I might say so. Kanye West, same thing. And when you think about the Kanye West, I'm gonna tie some shoelaces here. Y'all ain't gonna like this, but what up, Letitia? Think about this. If Kanye West came out and publicly said that the trainer that he had was contributing to his not only public assassination, in society, where they said he was crazy and he had to get on these drugs, that was his trainer who did that. His trainer made the world believe that Kanye West was crazy, had him committed, had him having to take these drugs, and they put him on all these different pills. Now let's go back to our iconic Michael Jackson. How did Michael Jackson pass away? At the hands of someone who was supposed to be protecting him. At the hands of someone who was supposed to be protecting him. That's right. It was a doctor, somebody who was qualified in the field. Does that make sense? Yeah, I rock the pick when I rock the fro. So, you know. Do y'all understand that? You know what I'm saying? Think about this. These people, and you have to be mindful of the company that you keep. You have to be mindful of the company that you keep, because some of those people, and the crazy part is, for people of that stature, of a Michael Jackson stature, of a Kanye West stature, think about this. Those people you don't come to a Michael Jackson off the street. You don't just say, Mike, hey, let me be your doctor. Somebody has to refer you. Somebody has to put you in a relationship with these people. Somebody has to introduce you. So just as you're going through this stuff, think about this. Somebody you know is putting you in harm's way. You can't walk up to Kanye West and say, hey, man, I think you out of shape, man. Let me be your trainer. You can't do that. So think about that. People are placing these people in your circle. No, you can't believe anything about what they said about Michael Jackson, because it was all a smear campaign. One of the things that Michael Jackson told a close confidant was that he said the greatest mistake he ever made was paying off that first family. He said he should have fought it, but the attorneys and people that were around him were in his ear saying, go ahead and pay him off. Just let's get rid of this thing. And although it seems like the easiest answer, it may seem easy in that situation, but see what it did? What it did was it almost was an admission of guilt. And if you admit at any point that you're guilty of something, somebody will and can use that against you in the future. And so that's what we saw going on with Michael Jackson. Oh, he admitted to it, so that let's portray it like he's guilty. If you don't understand, when you become a public figure, when you become a person with a voice in the community, that they're going to send people after you. I mean, if we look at the demise of, I'm sorry, I could just run this stuff all the way down. If you look at the demise of the Black Panthers, it was an inside job. It was an inside job. Think about it, y'all. Each of these situations are inside jobs. Michael Jackson, Dr. Murray, that was an inside job. Kanye West, and this is I forget his name. This the trainer, inside job. What do I mean by that? Somebody familiar placed them in the path of these people who are doing dynamic things in the community. Now, if y'all didn't know, Michael Jackson was hated for several reasons. One of the majorest reasons, I don't know if y'all knew this, but he was part owner of one of the biggest publishing companies around. Do y'all know what that means? That means that he was making money off of the same people that the record companies were making money off of. How crazy is that, right? The people that he was accusing of being sinister, he was at the level they were at, if not further. See, publishing is the machine that most companies and most people get paid from. As artists, you get publishing money, which is like your pension. And what these record labels do is they try to sign you up. I appreciate you, Everett. They try to sign you up to these publishing situations through the record label so that they can eat off of the money you make later. So artists get paid a couple ways. So let me break it down. Artists get money from, the record label, which is a loan, first and foremost. Any money the record label gives you, unless you're sassy enough to have a great attorney who can negotiate it, who can negotiate a non-recoupable advance. What non-recoupable means is part of the money that you give me, say for instance, he gets a signing bonus of $2 million. I would say I want half of that to be non-recoupable, which at that point, that makes that a super dope deal. But if you give an artist just $2 million, it's just $2 million loan. And so every bit of money he makes through the record company stops at the record company first. They take their cut. They take all of it actually until they receive $2 million before they ever pay the artist. So some artists who take these big deals never see money back. On the flip side, a savvy person would say, nah, I won't take 2 million. Give me 1 million and make 500,000 of it non-recoupable. That means you actually get $500,000. That's a better deal. You get $500,000 that you never have to pay back. Now, I would there's a whole bunch of things I would do with that $500,000 to ensure that I would never, ever need again as far as franchising a business or doing something like that. But we can talk about that later. But Michael Jackson owned the lion's share of Sony Music Publishing. That means he was getting money off of other artists that was signed to Sony Publishing, which is a dope position to be in. That's why his bankroll was what it was. And they didn't like that. You're not going to take our money. Have y'all noticed this? This is essentially what it is. We're not going to fund your campaign for activism. We're not going to knowingly give you guys money to say disparaging things about us. Now, I can understand how that works. You don't want to put somebody on and next thing you know, they're coming after you. But that's why you got to be a good person. You know what I'm saying? That's why you have to be of good moral character. Had those people, I didn't see them going after anybody else. And it's because no one else owns that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So another part of the thing where they hated Michael Jackson was, those people, there were white people who would defend and rock with Michael Jackson at one point, but they got upset that he bought the Beatles catalog. Now, the Beatles catalog is one of the most prestigious catalogs to have. 4 white boys from England who came over to the United States and around the world and had major global success. And a black man owns their works. So they were not happy about that. And just so you understand, when Michael Jackson died, you know what they did, right? They petitioned to get all of that stuff back. So Michael Jackson's estate no longer owns those things. Just so y'all can see how sinister stuff really is. See, that's how sinister things are. And because we don't protect them, like the black community didn't protect Michael Jackson. In fact, they doubled down on the nonsense in the comedic world. And there's not a comedian who didn't have a Michael Jackson joke, and that was disparaging because at a time when he needed complete support and protection, we gave him none. And people, whether y'all know this, people are cashing in on, and they're banking on the fact that we don't protect people like that. Tasha, the reason why they come to people who make it is because they have more people they can communicate with. They're held in high regard to us, so we're more prone to listen to those people. Yeah, Regina, there's a video of Michael Jackson and there's a video of Prince, all of them talking about these labels out there. Yeah. They come for them because there's a clause in the FBI. If you ever watch the movie 13th or you watch, is it 13th? It might be the 13th. I can't. There's a video out there, and you can look this up for yourself. There's a document that J. Edgar Hoover. He was probably the most sinister of presidents that we've had in the past. But he was an FBI agent before he was an FBI agent before he was a president. Now, if y'all look back, remember, if you ever watched the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, he was the one who was behind undermining the Black Panthers by inserting a black man in there to report back to the FBI. What they did, Street Prophet said he was gay too. What they did was he wrote a clause because he saw the impact of how black leadership works. Remember, all this stuff, man, that we're dealing with are psychological plays where they've studied us as a people and they're running these plays. And one of those things that he did was he said, there will be, and this is still in the FBI manual, there will be no black messiahs. What does he mean by that? That means if there's an artist that comes up, if there's a recording artist that comes up and he is, respected in the streets and loved in the community, and he's spitting that stuff of self-righteousness and being strong, he promoted them. If there was an artist out there who was, had the community shook and was just, everybody loved this artist, then they're going to make sure that that artist disappears. I mean, you all know an artist like that, don't you? There was this guy, man, they called him Tupac. Tupac was the voice of the streets. He was young and he was strong in his conversation. And he was galvanizing the people. He was making you think. And in doing that, he got on the radar. We can't let this young dude come up because he's starting to say stuff that makes sense. He's starting to instill black pride. He's starting to instill black strength. When we talk about artists, I don't know about y'all, but when they talk about artists who have passed, right? I think the world was shook when Michael Jackson passed, and everybody felt it. But when Tupac passed, I don't know where y'all was at, but what y'all was on. When Tupac passed, the whole world mourned. Like it was like a dark cloud over the whole world. It was crazy. Like people felt like a piece of them was missing. Like they lost a brother, like somebody that had, you know what I'm saying? People were so attached to Tupac and his conversation that the FBI did their job. They did their job very well. That's what they want, Tasha, is they want you to, they say, we'll give you the success. Matter of fact, we'll set you up for success for life. We'll set you up. We'll let you get in the door. We'll put you on. But there's a manual. Here's the to-dos and here's the to-don'ts. The to-don'ts are, don't talk about this group of people in any disparaging way. The do's are, you could talk about your people as much as you want. You could talk about, anybody else and everything else. Matter of fact, we want you to talk about your people. Go ahead, continue as you were. Say say everything you want. We got your back. But don't say nothing about these people, because that ain't going to fly. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about, the Kanye West, the Kyrie Irvings, and then y'all, cliche-ishly, I see people always typing, man, they got to be protected. But that's a real thing. Like, honestly, it's a real thing. Letitia said, yes. I remember exactly where I was, and I cried like that. It was my brother. Not so much over Big. I know that's what people don't realize. That when people talk about who was better, Biggie or Pac, I say who made the greatest impact. And if you don't know who made the greatest impact, then you have to say, how did you mourn for one or the other? Everybody was like, dang, that's messed up what happened to Biggie, that kind of thing. When Pac died, people was like, yo, what the hell is going on? Exactly, Street Prophet. He says it over here on Instagram. He said, we as a community got to protect our own if they standing for the purpose. If these people are driving the conversation and putting it and exploiting and putting themselves at risk, come on, man, we got to do a whole lot better. And on the flip side of that, the realest part that's realer than all of that is what do you do in hindsight, or better yet, if you're not able to protect those people when it's happening? Like we can't be everywhere at once, but we're not even reactionary to a point where it would change going forward. Meaning, when we lose these iconic and great people who have stood in the trenches for us, we don't avenge them financially, physically, or any other kind of way. We don't avenge them. You know what I mean? And that's it, Tashi. You support, but even in your silence is a form of support for some people. You know what I'm saying? But when you come out and you speak against it, you're not with us as a whole, and you're short-sighted, meaning that you don't some people talk and they don't understand the bigger picture, and they just talk from their personal, from a singular standpoint, and they find themselves doing what we see a lot of people on ESPN doing right now. A lot of people that were talking about Kyrie Irving are backtracking right now, publicly apologizing, saying I was wrong. And that's what you get for moving so fast. I always say, take your time, man. And when in doubt, don't do nothing. Stand still and allow yourself the opportunity to kind of really check everything out. When you start speaking up way in advance, you stick your neck out there to get it chopped off, because all of the facts haven't come out yet, and you haven't understood the position that you're supposed to have in a situation like that. That's all I'm saying. And so we're watching people retract their statements and going back. But more importantly, what do we do, and why haven't we put things in place to teach people? Like, we watch people get bullied. Kanye West is getting bullied right now. Kyrie Irving is getting bullied right now. And instead of doing what we can do to stop the bullying, we're going along, we're complacent. Is a better way to put it. We're complacent. Last night, the AMAs, the American Music Awards, same example they showed us in music last night. Chris Brown prepared an awesome tribute to Michael Jackson that he did not get to perform for reasons unknown. Now, I just want y'all to know, man, they've had their foot on Chris Brown's neck for quite a while. That's why y'all haven't seen Chris Brown do anything publicly. Ask yourself when the last time you seen it. You saw BET give him a shot, but come on, man, let's be honest. Unfortunately, BET is not the main stage that it used to be. I just gotta be honest. People devalue BET on so many different levels because, BET is the discounted version of those major shows that we've had out there, and only because for some reason they don't produce, or the production value isn't the same as these other networks. But we could change that. We could change that by showing an extreme amount of support for our shows and deciding not to show up at these other ones. And I know some people, there's a duality to that conversation that comes with out of sight, out of mind. Oh, let's get on their stage and show them what they're missing. You know what I'm saying? There's several things like that. Yeah, but yes, he's absolutely being blackballed. And Usher tried to, Usher, I don't know if y'all saw the video clip. TMZ and a couple other places ran it. But Usher, embraced him on stage during his Vegas thing and just said, "You're a legend, you're a GOAT, we support you," because he needed to hear that, because a lot of people don't publicly support Chris Brown. Kelly Rowland did an amazing job of making people acknowledge that Chris Brown is a force. That is how you support, that's how you put that out there. You know what I'm saying? And there needs to be more conversation from the elite group of performers that are out there. You would expect Jay-Z, Beyonce, Kanye, and all these other people to come to the rescue and say, "Hey, nah, man, we're going to include Chris Brown on our songs. We're going to include Chris Brown in our performances. We're going to make sure that y'all don't blackball this kid." Street Prophet says, "So where's the NAACP or the Black Panther Party? We not to mention the NFRRC, all those supposedly high power organizations that supposed to support people like Chris Brown and Ye. Those people are in their pockets." Captain said he sabotaged himself. Explain, Snob. I would love to hear your perspective on that. Yeah, BET was bought out years ago. It's run by Vivendi. So, and they own, that's another white Jewish company. Did y'all see the clip? Speaking of this past weekend, did y'all see the clip that Kanye West produced when TMZ talked to him about, of course, TMZ loves talking to Kanye, but he pulled out a list of all the companies in the entertainment business. It was like a card like this. He held it up, and it was bloodshot red, where he had highlighted in red all of the companies that were run by the community that he was talking about. All of them except for maybe like 3 or 4. All these executives were, that community he was talking about. Yeah. I want to hear. I want to see the part where Regina. Which part are y'all talking about? That Chris Brown self sabotaged himself. I'd love to hear that. No, they don't. We know they don't care about us, but it's at some point we got to stop saying they don't care about us and start saying this is how much we care about us. Like we can't keep extending ourselves and expecting. We can't keep expecting other people to come to the rescue. Tashi said CB made a mistake. Are we forever hold that over his head? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Listen, when he committed domestic violence. Regina, do you remember how long ago that was? Just curious. And think about this, y'all. In the act of what he did, imagine all of the success he's had since that moment. And imagine how much him and Rihanna have communicated. And if the victim isn't holding a grudge, if the victim has managed to get by it, it just bothers me that as a public community, we're unable to shake it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and because we as a black community don't shake it, of course, anybody can do what they want to him. And imagine how that feels as a person who's still trying to give all to everybody. That's why I think. So they said Chris Brown wanted to perform. They don't really care about us as a part of it. That'd have been interesting. But they don't. They again, it's hard to change those things up. You know what I'm saying? Like Dave Chappelle, whether y'all knew this or not, Dave Chappelle changed the monologue that he practiced with when he said what he said the last time he was on SNL. Do you understand what kind of stuff you got to do to really speak your mind and make sure that they're not, to move around those perimeters that they got out there? I'm sure they told Dave Chappelle, hey man, take it easy on the people, man. We just, we're not trying to lose the show. We're not trying to have a lot of bad feedback. And he said, all right. And he was like, he did a practice set, and his practice set had none of that stuff in it. And then when it came time, remember, Saturday Night Live, if you don't take advantage of the live moments you get, now, unfortunately, Chris can't do that because there's such a production setup for the performance, but you can't go off script like Kelly Rowland did, which supports what he was doing. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that we allow people to do stuff to us. And what I will tell you is Chris Brown has one of the dopest fan bases because they're the only thing that saved him during this debacle. Chris Brown's fan base, I will tell you, is one of the best fan bases to ever have, if you ask me. They came to his rescue, as should we, for those who stick their necks out on the line. Now, I'm not saying he stuck his neck out on the line. He actually, he did something that, he has to be held responsible for. But I think he has done that. We've held him responsible for it. And now it comes, again, it's like they're doing more. They're doing so much. And then they publicly humiliate him by saying, nah, man, we ain't gonna let you perform on our stage. How messed up is that? And nobody, like, I didn't watch the AMAs. I said it. I put it on my post. You got to do the things you can do. So what was within my power is to tell my 43,000 followers on Instagram, hey, man, I'm not watching it because of this. I don't think it's right. Just so y'all know where my moral compass lies at, I can't do it. Good luck to you if you watch it or whatever, but know that you're not supporting my guy. All right? That's just what it is. I just thought about this. This is a side note, y'all. I'm not drinking this right now. I got to go get the honey. I just thought about that. I am not taking that to the head without the honey. Sorry. Chris should still do performance and place on social media or something. Yes and no, right? Like, I hate that, right? I hate the fact that we got to take the consolation prize. I hate the fact that we almost always have to say, I'll settle for the consolation prize. If anything, I would say, I would do something like a pay-per-view performance. I would only do something where now at this next level that you're going to have to pay to see what I was going to do and blame the American Music Awards for it. That I would point that at, hey, don't be mad at me that now I got to monetize my performance on pay-per-view. If anything, you should be mad at them. They made it this way. I wanted to perform this for y'all for free. That's how you manage a situation like that. You make sure that people understand that this is not due to me. I have all of the greatest intentions. I want to perform for y'all. I want to give y'all my 1,000%. But these people over here didn't see fit to look for you that way. They did not consider you that way. Matter of fact, they gave you the middle finger and said, keep it pushing. We run our show the way we want. It's like that sign on the door at certain places that you go to that says, we reserve the right to refuse anyone. And we don't have to explain to you why. I don't go in those places often because you set yourself up for the dumb stuff. You like how I said that, Tasha? What I say? I don't know what you're talking about. So why don't we have a lane for our people or venues for them to make money? I mean, there are some, you know what I'm saying? But again, we are, street profit. We're renting a room in somebody else's house. So we got to figure out where we're going to perform at, in the closet or on the bed or wherever. We got to figure out where we're going to perform at. You say, why don't we do it ourselves? Well, we got to start owning our own things. And right now, not many of us own lands close enough to the people where we want to be at. True story, you can do it. But again, you got to understand that the world is watching and perception is everything. So in those instances, street profit, where you say not on that scale, is that people look at that and they minimalize it and you start messing up your brand. And it's just as soon that you wait and perform it, you know what I'm saying, when you get that bigger opportunity. We do, Tashi, but unfortunately, people don't want to make a sacrifice. I told y'all consistency and sacrifice, man, ring synonymous with the breakthroughs and success that you want. We want a breakthrough, then it's going to take consistency, meaning we're going to have to stop watching all of the award shows that are produced by people who do not care about our culture. The sacrifice is people are going to lose money from it. They're going to lose some visibility from it. It's going to change the parameter in which, and the light in which you see them. And people don't want to make those sacrifices, and they don't want to be consistent, because guess what happens? One of the worst things that can happen, and one of the things that always breaks is the last straw, is you can have 99% of people positioned to do the right thing, and then you have just one idiot that, of course, you have no control over another adult. You have one idiot, one adult who says, screw y'all, man, I'm finna do it. And so then that person crosses the line, and it breaks everything, because then other people, if he gonna do it, man, why am I holding out? He finna go get all the money. And then it becomes that. And then everybody starts running back like they couldn't unplug long enough for a change to happen. Consistency and sacrifice. That's what we inherited being born black in America. You inherited those two qualities that you're going to have to, those two things that you're going to have with you at all times. The willingness to be, the determination and strength to be consistent, and the willingness to understand that it requires sacrifice for any breakthrough that you go through. Think about it. That's the story of everything that they tell you, is that you got to go through hardships in order to get to something else. The reason why they say that is because that's how they set it up. That's how it's set up. You got to go through all this hardship. Now, a lot of people believe in that. A lot of people buy into that. I don't buy into it. I'd be like, ain't no way in the world, man. I'm going to go through all that just to get to that. No, I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to create my own path. I'm going to do my own thing, because y'all are tripping. If you saying I got to burn 2/3 of my arm in order to get through that, y'all crazy as hell. I'm going to put on something that's going to repel it, or I'm going to go another way where the fire ain't like that, where I ain't got to deal with the fire. But I'm going to get to the same place y'all get to. Y'all can be mad at me. What up, Reinvented? Spend that social digital currency. Yeah, man. That's that. Like, real talk. Like, there's no way that's going to be a mantra of mine, that I got to go through pain. Now, I might have to sacrifice some other stuff, but listen, your consistency is needed and it gets rewarded. But because you're being consistent, that also means that you may be a trendsetter, you may be the first, or you may be You may have to go through and help dig out that hole that's going to be greater for other people behind you. But you got to do it nonetheless. If you don't dig the hole never gets built. You know what I'm saying? The hole never gets created and nobody can go through it. Right, Captain. I like that. He said, yeah, a lot of us think a painful journey is a rite of passage. Nah, man. Knowledge, the lesson in the journey is the right to me. Let's just say, yeah, these reality shows, I love the black ones, but they're making us look ignorant and make money and start doing something motivational. I'm gonna sidebar that for a minute. You do not have to you don't have to go through what I went through for you to be successful. You should absolutely be learning about what I went through so that you can make some moves that don't require you to sacrifice as much, that don't require you to go through so much pain. But we're so stubborn and want to do it our own way. What y'all don't realize is that anything you do is your own way. It's going to be nuanced by you because you're the anomaly in this situation. It's going to be different in your own way because it's done at a different time with a different group of people. Because you are doing it, it makes it your own, and people don't recognize that you should be doing and following in the footsteps of those who have done it a certain way so that you can surpass those little things that trip most people up. Instead, we all want to forge our own path. Instead, we all want to do it our own way, and we want to do it alone. Why? Because we don't want to face the criticism or ridicule from people who are telling you, listen, man, there's a better way. There's an easier way to do it. If you don't have friends telling you, nah, that ain't it, then you got the wrong group of friends. I'm sorry. And as much as we don't want to hear other people's opinions, it's necessary to be in your head to help you sort through things that you normally wouldn't sort through on your own. That's why you get offended, because people are saying stuff to you that hits home and you haven't decided like what it means to you. I'm sorry. You should be listening. Whether you use it or not will show your intelligence level. But you at least need to hear it. I listen to a lot of people's conversations. It helps me understand what level they're at. I can ascertain if you're an idiot or if you're knowledgeable or if you're a little of both. And I can find the value in all of it. Because even an idiot will say something that will trigger a conversation or a response in your head that will help you get a breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? I think people, I can't agree completely. Street said, but we doing it for the wrong reasons and with no purpose. I can't say that wholeheartedly because some people don't have the same purpose and reasons that I would do it. I can't say that they're doing it for the wrong ones. They could be doing it from a selfish place for their family and their close loved ones. And I can't knock that because who can bet on the whole of the community? We've shown that it's a high risk for us to gamble on our community, because the trust value is not there. I would also then say we can't lean on that because if no one trusts, no one trusts. Like ever. You know what I'm saying? Like we're in this place where it's funny. I was in a relationship and there became this conversation about change. And the change happened, the conversation about change was so dynamic and that it was like, yo, let's go talk to somebody. Let's talk to an outside person. And what was revealed in the conversation with this third person was everybody can't wait for somebody else to make the move. The reason why we were in two distant places was because she was waiting on me to go first. I was waiting on her to go first. At some point, we got to stop waiting on other people to go first, because we can all go and be first. You can be the first in your family. You can be the first amongst your friends. You can be the first in your community. We can all be first. Yeah, Castan, the distrust in our community is our generational curse, but it continues to be generational because no one is stopping the cycle, Captain. Nobody's saying, I'll go first and have the kind of influence that'll say, I'm going to go with you, or I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go, 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 and we're going to make this impact. But let's all go at once. Let's go at the same time so they don't have time to rebuild walls and change the narrative quick enough. That's the challenge. We don't move fast and effectively. It's taking us generations to make decisions on how to change things. Come on, man. Two generations should be existing at the same time to be a stronger force to make the kind of changes that we need to make. We're just removed from the generation who actually really went through a bunch of the nonsense making the changes. Our parents were part of the adjustment. Our parents were a part of the adjustment. We're supposed to be the part that drives it home, or at least gets that adjustment so easy for the next generation that they knock the ball out of the park. We could all witness that in our lifetime. We could all witness a lot of the changes that we want to see happen, but we're not turning the wheel. We're not doing our part. Like collectively, we're not doing our part. And there's so many more. I will say this. I feel like there's so many that we've increased the number of people who are starting to get it. I think that these things like the iPads and the iPhones and the TikToks and the Instagrams and the YouTubes and all these things that were, I don't know if y'all understand that they were designed to distract us. They were designed to pacify us. One of the coolest things that has ever been done in history is people use things that were meant to undermine them. They flip it on their head and use it to benefit them. The chains that bonded us for evil, for hate, should be the same chains that we attach to one another to strengthen us. But instead, we just want to break free of the chains and don't want to be locked into anyone or anything. Being bonded together, being forced to be together was one of the greatest things that's ever happened to us. In a time when we were so separate that we only had each other, what are you saying? What could have been wrong with that other than the way we were treated by outside people? If we managed to take care of each other within that situation, bruh, come on, man. If I tell you what you was taught in the education institute was wrong, generally speaking, the average black person will side with the indoctrinate master instead of listening to a fellow brother. True story, street, and it's not that they don't want to listen to you. It's just that they've been, the word you said, they've been indoctrinated. To be indoctrinated means something's been driven home so much in your mind that it takes an act of God or a real some kind of reality that is associated completely with you, solely with you, each individual, not as a group. Even though you were indoctrinated as a group, it's going to take an individual conversation to change it, because very seldom will you ever see those same groups of people in a place where they can be indoctrinated differently. That's one of the beautiful things I love about us. We are great improvisers. That's one of the greatest. We've had to be some of the greatest adapters in the world. In that, though, there's a problem with that, Captain. So not only do we want to celebrate the fact that we can be innovative, creative, and adapt, but at some point you also have to say we learn we can dial it everywhere we need to dial it, but we can also stand 10 toes down where we need to stand. What up, LA? LA, come in the room and buy a sticker right away. Thank you for your support, brother. It's cool to be flexible, but it's also cool to be stern. Like, it's cool that we can adapt, but our adaptation is also a curse when you do it all the time instead of standing still. It's cool that a tree can ebb and flow in the wind, but that mud can also stand up strong too. And that's where the problem is in that flexibility. We haven't remembered that we are rooted in something, and we haven't established those roots as deep as they need to go, and we keep bending. We haven't broke, so that means we got it. We figured it out. We know that we can handle anything because we're flexible. But what do you do with your strength? We have yet to show people the strength of black people in this America. We have yet to do it. How do you do it? I talked about, first, we do it financially. Financially, we all make the black dollar one of the most elusive for any other community to obtain. You should be avoiding spending the black dollar in places that don't support you, like you're doing the Matrix when he was getting shot with them bullets. Once we've established the financial strength of our dollar, what up, DeMonte? Once you've established the financial strength of your dollar, guess what can happen next? Well, they're going to come for us. Oh, they're going to come for us. Now it won't be a financial attack because we got our finances together, and there's not much they can do when a community is holding their dollar in their community for longer than 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. If we can manage to get our dollar to last a whole month and it just rotates in our community that way, ooh-wee. Do y'all know how mad that's gonna make some people? That's gonna piss off a ton of communities. And you know what that means? What that makes communities do? And what up, Reed? You know what that makes communities do? They want to fight. And this is that part where you got to show your strength. This is the part where you physically now have to be strong. This is the part where you have to be unified, have a strategy and a plan, and everybody should know what the other knows and be willing to do what the other is willing to do to protect the black dollar that we've established to have strength. The only way you can manage that is you have to start now. If somebody told you a revolution was coming, what are you going to do? If somebody said to you, and I'm not saying a revolution is going to come, but shit, it might. And I'm not going to not be ready. I'm not going to be one of the guinea pigs. I'm not going to be one of those people out there, take me and my family hostage and do what you will with me. I'm sorry, that ain't me. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm going to fight for it. But you have to start doing these things now. Y'all can't be saying you're going to do something and then you're not even doing your part. I don't know what that means, Savannah. We start with resolving as a community that we won't become. I think I kind of know where you're going with it, but I'll let you retype it. But as you build that, right, as we get the black dollar to defend us, so the money is what you're going to stand behind. I'm sorry, as a community, the money that we spend is going to, guess what's going to happen? Let me give y'all a scenario. If we manage to do what I said do for Black History Month, we spend that black dollar is going crazy in the community. Come March, all these other communities are going to be begging for you to spend your dollar there. And guess what? They're going to be treating you so much nicer. Oh, there's some people who want to spend money who don't look like us. They're coming to go, hey, welcome. It was so good to see you. We haven't seen you in so long. Exactly. That Savannah says, she says, we start with resolving that we won't be the oppressors once we finally. No, it's not about being the oppressors, but it is about standing firm. It is about standing straight up. You know what I'm saying? And then you be the example that you needed these people to be. That's one of the things that I found about strength. Strength isn't doing unto others as they did unto you. Strength is being able to stand in your own righteousness when given the position to do unto others what they did to you. What up, Angelina? I don't ever have to get back at nobody, but I'll never let you get me in the way that was before. Clay says, can we really not work together? Most of us would prefer to cooperate against the real oppressors. I don't want to work together. You can't work together yet, Clayton, until we can work. And so here's the thing. There are going to be outside communities that want to help. And Malcolm X said this as well. He said, yes, you can help, but you can't be in the midst of the problem-solving conversation that can only be held by us because it only truly affects us. If you decide to abandon us, we still got to deal with us. We still got to fix us. Now, you could be there on the supportive side of shopping black and spending black and promoting black and those kind of things. Awesome. Absolutely. And that's the conversation that should be had for the outside community. You can do for us what we've done for you all these years. The way that we've supported outside communities as being the biggest consumers, you would say if you as a community was the biggest consumers, then the black community, especially as far as entrepreneurs go, should be reigning success. You're spending all your money. Why aren't all these black businesses flourishing? Because we're not spending that money within our community. We're not spending it with people who look like us. And so that adds stress, that adds envy, that adds so many other things that still undermines that community. Yeah, no, I agree, Savannah, and she makes a good point. That when the money is up, and that's typically when I just did a video on my Instagram where I showed 3 ants, and I put at the top record label and then record deal and then producers and managers. And the video just basically says this, that typically an artist will run to the record label to get on and forget the people that helped them get there. And so there's a lack of support or a lack of remembering those people who held you down. Usually when people get money, they snob at all the other people, although most of those people they're snobbing at helped them achieve the success that they wanted. So there's some psychology that has to go along with all this. We keep saying, the changes that we need to make, but there needs to be a conversation with all of it as you do it. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up, Tasha. It's important. Last question. Does our skin color really make a community more than the common enemy Ye referred to? Yes and no, right? I am always going to be black. The minute I walk out of the house, people don't see my nature. They don't see how good of a person I am or how bad of a person I am. They don't see any of that. First thing that the global community sees is my skin color. So I'm united to my brothers, no matter where they are in the world, who look like me or will receive the same kind of look and conversation and thought processes. We all kind of go through it the same, yet we're different. So what makes us different is our response to it and our perspective as we deal with it. So that's a unifying thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, that's just a unifying part of our life. That's, you know what I'm saying? Should it make us separate and all those kind of things? No, because we should all at the end of the day just realize we're humans. You know what I'm saying? We should just remember, I know we're not street prophet, and I don't want to get into semantics. I know we're Moors, but black is not who we are. African American is not who we are, although it's a closer description to the scenario that we're in. We're Africans who are in America, so I get it. But black as a color is not a country. Totally. We're not associated with any country called black. I totally get it. But those are the things, Savannah, you just mixed up. Look, so those are the things that we have to be mindful of, right? Is that, and I understand like that there are benefits to what up, Lucia? There are benefits to each and every person and the skin that they're in, right? In my defense, when I'm walking through the hood, my skin wins. Like other nationalities can't just walk through the hood and get a pass because people gonna be looking at them like, what? Like, why are you here? Because you normally don't come here. No, Clayton, I agree. I think that making us divisive is a strength for the opposition. Making us have to talk or putting these talking points out there regarding race and religion, they're all separatism conversations versus saying, okay, let's put that to the side and let's figure out how we deal with this subset of people who are really controlling and oppressing us. The problem becomes there's a trust issue there, Clayton, and it's challenging because black people historically haven't had a choice but to stand with and by one another because of the construct of America. The construct of America puts us in a place where we can't where we can't choose. Other nationalities, on the other hand, especially white people in America, you can choose. You can choose to have one foot in the fight. You can choose to have both feet in the fight, and you will not be admonished from it if you decide to change your mind. I can't change my mind. You know what I mean? Street, I love it, man. But so the first thing that has to happen is to put and make the education around these things consumable, easier to do. You know what I mean? I took the limited apple vinegar stuff, got him wired. Big is. I told you, it's not a game, bro. It's real. What up, DJ Dub? It's a real thing. She said, well, that's because listen, I've been in the hood. I stand out like a sore thumb, but nobody bothers. Typically, you won't. Other nationalities can stroll through the hood and be cool because we're a chill people by nature. But if you come through the hood like you rocking with us and whatever, somebody gonna remind you like, bro, this ain't that. This ain't that. And similarly, when black people were moving into white neighborhoods, there's some disparaging videos that when the first people moved to Long Island and the first black people moved to Boston and some other places, that you say to yourself, because of who you are now, that if you was alive, that there'd be a whole lot of fighting going on in them streets. There'd be a whole lot of killings going on in them streets based off of the response that white people had to black people moving in the neighborhood. Back in Flint, Michigan, where I'm from, there's a white community called, ironically, it's called Grand Blanc. Great White is what it's called. And when the group Ready for the World, which was a huge national group that created some millionaires out of these 19-year-olds, one of the members decided to move out into this area because, of course, the education school system was better. The houses were bigger and better, spaced out better. You know what I'm saying? It was supposedly a nicer place to live. He was there for a week, and on the pavement was written "Leave Nigger." Get out of here. You don't belong here. All that stuff on his brand new place. So if we understand and respect that, yeah, Dilio, I didn't know you was in here. What's up, Dilio? LA and Dilio, who are on YouTube, are from Flint as well. They'll tell you, you drive out to Grand Blanc, and even to this day, if you drive in Grand Blanc and you're black, you're going to get pulled over. Big says we have to be this way because this is how to adjust to the new type of free slavery. True story. But we were taught that we didn't have a place in this world in the education institutions where we were written out of history books and taught. Exactly, right? So until we do this, Gigi, I am rocking my hair like this until I get braided. Stop, get off me, man. We gonna fight. I appreciate you tuning in. You gotta support me a little bit more, Dilio. You from Flint, man. You gotta hang out with me more often. So listen. Until we do some things, Street Profit. I've talked about this before as well. Let me take a commercial break before I get into the next step. We are talking about a recap of this weekend, and it started off with talking about how Chris Brown was unable to perform at the AMAs and what that really means. You know what I'm saying? It's layered because he was going to do a Michael Jackson performance, who was also an advocate who spoke out similar to Kanye and to Kyrie. And the fact that he's not allowing them to, the fact that he wanted to do, they didn't really care about us as one of his performances. Of course, the powers that be didn't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So we're diving in there. We're just kind of expanding the conversation because it's multi-layered when it comes to, people on the surface level think, oh, he just didn't get to perform because of what he did to Rihanna. No, it's bigger than that because it's attached to so many other great activists that came before him that this is a show of power at this point, and they wanted to embarrass him and further diminish his building brand that he had, and it's unfortunate that they did that. So let me see something. Let me pause for the calls for a second, y'all. I'll be right back. All right, so check this out. I'm gonna need y'all to also be a little patient today because I got builders coming, I got cleaners coming today, so I'm gonna be running in and out to check the door and whatnot. But that's a huge part of the conversation that we got to take into consideration. It's like we're in the Hunger Games trying to be a part of the 1%. True story. We need to build our so back to Street Profits conversation part of it. We have to decide to and before I get started, make sure y'all hitting the like button. Make sure y'all are sharing the live. Support any of the channels that y'all are on. I don't know which one. I don't want to speak to anybody specific, but hey, Lourdes, what's happening? If you're on Instagram, y'all can hit the badges. If you're on TikTok, you can hit the gifts and Cash App. If you're on YouTube, you can hit the super stickers, super likes, and on the other platforms, y'all know what to do. So check it out. Street Profit made a really, really good suggestion, right? Or a good observation. Let me go back up here where he said, well, we are taught that we didn't have a place in this world in their educational institutions. So we had this conversation, and I'm gonna expand on it a little bit more because it's really, really important. And here's the cycle of events and how it works. Thanks, Lucia. I see you. Here's how it works, y'all. First off, you have to establish that your community can support itself. How do you do that? By supporting the community, by buying in the community, by having infrastructure set up. We're going to go back to a word that I told y'all was the word of the weekend. It's really the word moving forward. Build, build, build. That's funny, Sonny. We got to build, right? Because if we don't build it, then we can't ask people to support it. We have to build it. If you're an artist or a recording artist, you have to build your image and your energy up in your community so that your community can support you. It's the same. You have to build. So you got to build. How do you build? You put money into the system. So you put money into supporting our system. What up, Emanate? You got to put money into your community in order for your community to be able to build something that's going to be sustainable within it. So again, Street Profits said, hey, we don't have an educational system that teaches what needs to be taught. Well, if we spend money in our neighborhoods, guess what we can also build in our neighborhood now? We can build schools. We can build after school centers. We can build places where kids can come, because listen, any change that we want is going to happen from children. It's not going to happen from some stubborn old heads, and ain't going to happen from some complacent young adults. It's going to happen from these kids. I'm sorry. And with these kids, you get them in there and you start giving them the education, because it can't happen if we don't have our own buildings to do it. If they're going to take it out of their schools, where are we going to put it? Yo, I see you, Emanate. Where are we going to put it if we don't put it? If it's not going to be in their schools, where are we going to put the education at? They can't, and again, they can't get mom and pop's education only. They got to get everybody's conversation. That's what's up, Lucia. And Detroit is for sale right now. It's so cheap in Detroit. Y'all should be able to turn that place out. Yes, Felicia, it starts at home, but it's supported in the schools. Think about this, Felicia. How often, say for instance, you had a kid, Felicia, how do you think it works? How do you think the time equity works? I'm going to break it down for you. You wake up in the morning and you send your kid to a school for 8 hours of the day. So if your kid is at school learning some craziness for 8 hours, you return from work at 5. You got somebody to pick them up. So you get home at 5. You have 6 hours at the most, depending on when you have your kids go to sleep. You have 6 hours to teach your kids or to fellowship with your kids, to eat, hang out with your kids, and then go from there. Yep. It is crazy, Lucia. The redlining is still happening, and in places like Detroit, it's super obvious. So you have to. I understand. Felicia said I was taught Black history at home, but you weren't taught all the Black history. You weren't taught all of the history that is available for you now, because it wasn't available to them then. You know what I'm saying? Our parents didn't have the conversation about speaking or learning Hebrew and all those different things. You know what I'm saying? Learning and reading up on the teachings of Malcolm X is awesome, but Malcolm X wasn't the only one. There were several Black leaders. If you didn't learn about Nat Turner growing up, then yeah, you missed out on some Black history, because they didn't teach you the Black history of those that stood in the trenches, that went and said, I'll die for this shit. They didn't talk to y'all about the slaves that jumped off of the boat on the way over, why Kanye West said slavery was a choice. They didn't teach you those kind of things. So now there needs to be schools in place. They didn't teach you that the actual maps that they show you at school are wrong, that they got Africa looking all little when Africa is super big. Yep, they didn't. It's good. Yep. Okay, so you learn about Nat Turner and Marcus Garvey, and okay, cool. So as a whole, that's cool that you got that information, Felicia, but it has to be across the board, because if one or two of us know it, that's cool, but it ain't great. That's why schools put you in those situations, to inundate you to what they need you to learn, so that you could be a more cooperative citizen. But how are you going to cooperate? How are we cooperating is a better question. How are we as a society of people cooperating in a place that doesn't appreciate what you've done in the past and has been undermining you the whole time you've been here? How do you do that? How do we do that? How are we so complicit? Are we just happy? You know what I mean? Are we so happy? I mean, really, we move around this country like we're thrilled. Yeah, man. The map is a bull. The map is up. They got the map, got people faded. And you believe it. So when they minimize what you're, when people minimize what you mean to this world, then you start thinking that you are a small part. Reed said, with the information, we should only be buying black. I built my channel off Yeezy because he's black. It's that simple. Yeah, no doubt. And that's how you reciprocate it. That's how you continue the conversation. That's how you build the community. So after we build our educational department, we should be also looking to establish a hospital in our communities, a black hospital. Why? Why do you say a black hospital, Scrap? Why won't every hospital work? Nope. If you don't think there's a reason that black women died more disproportionately in these hospitals nowadays when having birth, if you don't think there's a purpose to all that, y'all are tripping. Y'all are straight tripping. There are incentives around life and death when it comes to some of these hospitals. There are incentives. I'm just saying, beware. Every medicine that works for other people ain't gonna work for us. As a community, we need to understand that we are different in many ways. And one of those ways, what up, J-Lac? One of those ways is we don't consume and regurgitate medicines the same. We don't even catch and get over sickness the same. Hell, y'all don't hear about white people talking about diabetes. Y'all don't hear white people talking about, I'm just saying in general, y'all don't hear other nationalities talking about, having these concerns that we as a community have inherited. And that becomes that there's a part of education. Yeah, we can't keep going back to, what up, Studio Gangster? We can't keep going back to Black Wall Street, because in Black Wall Street, we got changes that we have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't revisit that. It keeps happening to my friends. Yep. I mean, there's so much, Lucia. I heard white doctors were taught black people can tolerate more pain. Well, that was one of the things that they put out there. That was a misnomer that they put out there. What up, AC? That was something that they put out there. So they would give women hysterectomies and birthing channels and whatnot without using anesthetics. It's as simple as that, Shataka. It's as simple as that. Any of you who are still drinking vitamin D milk need to be slapped in your face. Period. Have you ever wondered what they do with the afterbirth? They keep it. What do you mean, Street Profit? They keep it and they recycle it and they use it. What are you saying? You know what I'm saying? I know, I know. Come on, man. There's a disproportionate, and so if we're talking about life, if we're talking about mortality, right? If we're talking about extending the experience of life, you have to talk about having doctors and a society built around making that happen. Like, we don't have that. We don't have, there are medicines and things that we should have concerns about that are treated as a global thing, not as a unique to you as a black person. You know what I'm saying? So they don't tell you that you should be eating this way because you're black, because it will hurt the industries that we help survive. Yeah, I mean, I talk about it. Well, we don't talk about that in specific because it's like one of those, it's not very seldom do we talk about the black woman and her struggles here in America, as amongst not only those people, but amongst each other and the black man and the black woman. We don't have those conversations. I just recently posted on my Instagram a conversation that came to me. A young lady was in a recording studio and a young man came on to her. Now, this was somebody she had worked with for a while, and he just, came at her, and it changed the dynamic. Y'all know y'all should not shit where you eat. You know what I mean? That's funny. That part, you know what I'm saying? So if there's so many layers, and I don't want to get distracted, but there's so many layers of things that need to happen. First, we need to build our own businesses. We need to invest in those businesses that are going to invest back into the community, because we need that money that they're taking and build a hospital. Once you have a hospital, a place of caring and concern for the health of the people in the black community, that has medicines, that has practices, that has procedures that are going to really focus in on the Black experience, and what Black people's health needs are in America. Now, I can tell y'all part of the stuff that we have here in America that is a problem is this. Because Africa is such a fertile country, because it's such a green land, that I'm sure we were more herbalists than we are here. I'm sure we ate less meat there and ate more from the land there, from the land that we cultivated there. So coming here, an immediate adjustment to our digestive system. I'm sure there was so much sickness in the beginning because, as somebody mentioned before, we do have the ability to adapt. What up, Elion? We have the ability to adapt very quickly, but adapt nonetheless. Whether it's quick or slow, we had to adapt to a whole nother climate. We had to adapt to another form of eating, this recklessness that they had going on, and some of us have built a tolerance to it. There's some our ancestors, our grandparents, they'll tell you in a heartbeat, they ain't changing what they eat, and they ate everything. And that's why their body is so resilient. And that's why they they eat from the rooter to the tutor and on the pig and everything else. And go from there. Street Prophet said, first we need the elite Black leaders to invest back in the community for the educational system, their hospitals. That is not something I subscribe to, feeling like those who are at the best of us should. I think it takes us. I think that the community has to step up, and I think that this is how people with money think. Just so you understand, people with money feel like every time you call them, you asking for money. That's how they think. Alexa, show me front door. That's how people with money think. Okay, yeah, it is somebody at my door. I told you. Y'all bear with me 1 second. Let me check this door. In the meantime, share the room, hit the like button. If y'all are gonna buy badges, buy some badges, and hit that Cash App. I'm gonna play some. I'll be right back, y'all. Okay, I'm back. I know that sounded crazy because I just realized that 2 buttons was pressed instead of 1. But yeah, in order for us to have the adjustments that we want to have, we're going to have to build the things that we need. Starts with the school system. Starts with the now I agree. I'm watching Reed said it too. We absolutely need a bank. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the community can't do it alone. We are going to need some help. But listen, it doesn't take a billionaire to do it if you got 10 people that got, great resources. Too many times we're depending on one savior. No one person is going to save us, y'all. Only we can save ourselves in these situations. So it's going to require us to make a decision as a whole. Now, as we do that, I think we will influence those other people who have those kind of resources. There is a Greenwood Bank somewhere, Delio. I think in Atlanta, there's a Greenwood or Greenland or something like that. But we have to look into it, and then we have to start investing in it. But if they see us moving, it's easier. Listen, people always want to get on a moving train versus one that's standing still. Right now, we ain't moving the train. We ain't moving the train at all ourselves. People attach themselves to things that are happening. People want to be a part of the party. People want to, you know what I'm saying? You can invite somebody, you can tell people, hey man, come on over, man. We're going to sit around and watch TV. Or you could say, hey man, I'm throwing a party tomorrow night. Y'all should fall through. Which one do you think people are going to come to? They coming to the party. I'm getting my GC license for the culture. She funny. And she getting locked up. I see you. I'm probably locking my hair in January. I haven't decided yet. But that's what I was growing it out for, is to relock it up again. But that's the point of conversation that needs to happen. So if we did it in order, right? If I had to think about what order I would do it in, I'm thinking I would. Well, you can't build the army first because people are going to say, what are we defending? We have nothing truly to defend, Street, because we don't own anything, nor do we produce anything, and we don't respect our dollar. So first off, we got to make our dollar make sense so we have something to defend. All right? So we got to make our dollar hold some weight. Our dollar bill doesn't mean what it should mean totally. For sure, Delio. Our dollar has to have some power first before anybody wants anything from us. They don't want anything from us. They care less what we're doing in our community, where we're going to need an army. So let's build what we need. So building our businesses is the first thing. Once you build your businesses, and this is what should have happened at Black Wall Street, of course, the naivety of it all, we can't say it should have happened, but here's what would happen in the new Black Wall Street, I guarantee it, is you build the infrastructure for these businesses, and now you get money. Once you get money, you hire security, or you build your army. Once you build your security and have your army, what comes next? Well, we need a hospital to take care of people should we have to go out there. We need people to be confident that they're going to be all right even after it. That's a whole nother conversation, Shataka. We have money in our birth certificates. True. Finding a way to get it out is the shaky and shifty part. So now that we've got our businesses up and running, we got security for our businesses so they can't do to us what they did to us in Oklahoma at Black Wall Street and burn it down. Then we understand that they are going to try to, and if they're going to try to, somebody's going to get hurt. So what do we need? We need hospitals and caregivers that can take care of folks. And as this is happening, we're already building what we need to educate the people. If people can feel that they can financially grow, they can be protected, they can be taken care of, then they're going to want to learn about everything that we're talking about. They're going to want to learn everything that they need to learn. Why wouldn't they? Because those pillars of a great community will have been established. They can say, I don't have to leave to make my money. I don't have to be worried about making my money here because I got people watching after me to take care of me to make sure things go right. And should somebody try to do something, I know that I'm going to be okay because they're going to put me in a place. You know, Martin Luther King was taken to a hospital where they killed him in the hospital. I like that too. I think that's another element of it, Reed, but we got to get the money first. Right now, we can't build the banks like that because we got to we're not investing the way we supposed to. As we invest as we're supposed to, yeah, I think we should put it in a black bank. I think that you got to have people who, and these are the reason why you have to do it the other way, Reed, is because we have to build up the trust. Nobody's putting them, I hate to say this, nobody's just putting in their money in a black bank because it's black. They're going to invest in a black bank that they feel they can trust. And you got to build trust up by showing, you know what I'm saying, by showing improving. Unfortunately, that is a point of contention for a lot of the things we do. That's a big contention. What up, Kayante? We have a problem with trusting people who look like us because some of us, and the worst of us, gets exploited when they do negative things to other black people. You notice how y'all heard all of the visceral response that people on news talk radio said about Kyrie, but y'all haven't heard this outcry of people who have apologized. Y'all hear me? Y'all do know, y'all caught all of the highlights of everybody saying disparaging things about Kanye and Kyrie, but y'all haven't heard of all the people who've apologized and who stood with them. True story, Street. That's the reason why. You're right. Honestly, it's funny because the ghetto or the hood, so to speak, it does have a lot of those things in it. There are people in the hood who have a pattern. You know, they got a grocery store that they got a grocery store they go to. They have a bank that they go to. They have regular places that they deal with, albeit we don't own any of them. I remember growing up, that was my thing. I knew what there were only two convenience stores I would go to. A third if I was walking in a different direction, I would go to D&H on Martin Luther King and Hamilton Street, but that was kind of dangerous because it turned south. And my cousin reminded me that all that stuff used to be black owned. When it was black owned, it was off the chain. Like, it was super duper dope. It was a great area. And then as some of those places started being taken over by other people, the energy and the vibe shifted in the neighborhood. And I would just assume that there was some resentment there by the community, like, yo, you know, that there was some, that kind of thing. So, I think we know what needs to be done. Now, here's the big challenge that we all suffer from is doing what needs to be done. We all have a problem with that. Hold on one second, y'all. Alexa, show me front door. Okay. FedEx dropping something off. Okay. Yep. Like, listen, there are all these places that were black owned. At one point, again, they gave us what we wanted at one point. I mean, not gave us, we supported it. So we built it. And, and then, other things happened in these areas or whatnot, and we had to adjust and change. So I say to y'all, you know what I mean? So Reed would say education comes first. Banks make money on the interest on the money they loan out. So trust is built with education, black or white. The bank is using your money. True story. We can't take business personal. True story. But you do have to be in a position where you trust the bank. I wouldn't put my money in no bank that I heard was getting robbed all the time. I wouldn't put my money in no bank that wasn't FDIC insured. I wouldn't put my money in a bank that isn't making wise investments and supporting other businesses like our own. What up, Maury? Like, that's important to me. If I'm gonna invest some money in a bank, they have to be supporting some of the causes that I believe in. But we don't talk to people or about banks and what they support. I can drive by the high school I live in a subdivision. I live way out. You know what I'm saying? It's soccer mom city. All these people out here. I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black families live in my neighborhood, and it's a pretty big neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? But if I drive by the high school, at the front of the high school, it would tell you all of the businesses that are supporting this high school and its initiatives. I can't drive by no black school in Atlanta and it says Chick-fil-A and Publix and Kroger, and that says all these different places that you shop at, that you spend your money at, is supporting or it has supported. None of that. And you're right. I like that DJ Denominator. He said generational handoff was effed up. And he's absolutely right. Unfortunately, we don't even have the basic business done. Like, here's the basic thing, right? Here's the basic business that you all should invest in. Life insurance should be invested in by everybody, because that's an inevitable payoff. But what it does is, instead of you, when you pass, leaving a bill, you absolutely empower your family. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm telling you, especially around Mount Perrin, Dilio, Mount Perrin is considered, you know what I'm saying? That area is so much money in that area, bro. That area is one of the most flourishing areas in Atlanta that Dilio saying he said they got sponsors. Yeah, they got sponsors because they're the community that surrounds that school. Everybody in that community, their houses is worth $3 to $5 million easy. Street Profit said, and that's what they do. Street Profit said in the area that he's in, because it's so close to profitable or high end properties, that they are now trying to push them out. Gentrification is real. People see what and that's how business works. They say, "Hey, man, you got something I want, and you're not doing, you're not even doing right by it. If you let me get it, I'll double it up, but I ain't gonna kick you in on. I'm not gonna kick you out, nothing." And that's the unfortunate part, is that we don't know. I think Reed, you said it. We don't know business as well as we should, and we're emotional about business, thinking people are getting over on us when actually they're practicing great business acumen. But these are topics and conversations that are going to take some time. You can't educate people people without money don't want to be educated about money. I'm sorry. They say to themselves, I ain't got to worry about that shit. I'm on Section 8. I only get what they give me. But even Section 8 people can find a way off of Section 8. If they're giving you food stamps, you figure out a way to make that be bigger than what it was. We normally, as a people, we know how to multiply and build. And the fact that we build excuses more than we build businesses, the fact that we build excuses more than we build opportunities, the fact that we build excuses versus building ways out is discouraging. I know there have been people who have lived in the hood who have created businesses while being on Section 8. They would take that money and they buy those foods and get those foods or whatever, and they make that food stamp that they got for $200 turn into $800. Yeah. That's what's up. I love hearing that. Reed said, I'm learning before I'm 30. A lot from the elders. The handoff is not over. It was bad, but it's still hope. I love that. I love that. And that needs to be the attitude of all people, you know what I'm saying, is that it ain't over yet. We got work to do. Hopefully these conversations and more will help navigate that space where people can understand and put in practice and play what needs to be done. But it can't all be lip service, y'all. We just can't keep talking about it. And that's why, you got to do certain things, and then you got to, normally they would say, you do these things and don't say anything, but it's important that you say these things and do these things, and then exploit the fact that you did it. Hey man, I didn't watch the Chris Brown thing last night, and this is why. And then people start raising the antenna and thinking about why. Anyway, because I got so much activity going on here today, man, I'll probably get back on a little bit later, but I need to jump off of here now, tend to this house business and whatnot, so that I make sure everything's taken care of, move some of these things so they can come in here and clean properly or whatever, and make things cool. So y'all stay tuned, man. Make sure y'all tune in every day, 9 o'clock in the morning to typically to 11. I'm just cutting it short a little bit today because I got so much other stuff going on, and it is a busy week. Like I told y'all, I'm traveling, so I got a lot of T's to cross and a lot of I's to dot because I want my trip to be really cool. I will be going live from out of the country so that we can attend. I don't know if I'm an hour behind or what the status is, but I'll try to make sure it's still 9 to 11 unless I have something that I'm committed to in those places that I got to do. In the interim of that, make sure you guys are watching old videos, sharing clips of my videos that you can only get on YouTube. If you're not following on YouTube, go to my YouTube right now. You can follow me. It's either the quickest way to do it on TikTok is just press on my name up top, go where it says Instagram and hit the Instagram symbol, and it's going to drop down two. It's going to drop down YouTube and it's going to drop down Instagram. I'm sorry, whatever happened, I got like a text on Instagram and they said they can't hear me. But that'll be the opportunity for you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel and tune in there so when I go live. I appreciate everybody for stopping in today. I think we had an amazing conversation. Also, I will be posting some of these conversations to my Spotify channel as a podcast so you guys can tune in and listen back there. Until then, until we talk tomorrow or later today, turn on notifications and I'll catch y'all later. All right, Instagram, I'm out. TikTok, I'm out. YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, I'm out.